everyone and welcome to my reading Brandon Sanderson's Oathbringer for the first time reading vlog. Now obviously this is the third one in the Stormlight archive and it's the longest one yet. I think Rhythm of War is slightly longer, but this one is still really long, so I'm slightly intimidated by that, but I am still very excited to get into this one because I really enjoyed Words of Radiance. I really like where this series is going. It had a whole load of like new things at the end there that's just left me wanting more desperately, and I cannot wait to find out more. So let's get into it. Just finished the prologue, so which is of the night that Gavilar died. So he knew what the Parchment had done, and they went into doll form to avoid their gods, and they'd trapped a god, and he was trying to bring them back. Oh, I didn't see that one coming. I am literally 24 pages in and I've already gotten a plot twist. Sanderson doing it again. I definitely do not like young Dalinar. Young Dalinar was an arsehole. Like, what was with that dude? Like, what? Like, I understand he was young and all the rest of it, but he's seriously going down in my estimations. I'm so glad we met him when he's older instead of younger, because if we met him like younger, like during the flashbacks, and that's the first bit you saw of him, would have never have liked him, because I'm going off him now. The quote at the beginning of chapter 4, which mentions that they are a godless heretic, is it Jasnar? Is Jasnar writing Oathbringer? I feel like it may be Jasnar. I'm probably wrong, but I think it may be Jasnar, considering the godless heretic quote. They keep on mentioning the enemy champion, and I keep on thinking it could be Adolin or Renarin. I don't know why, but my brain's saying that it's going to be one of those two. Considering the way Renarin is reacting whenever he hears about the enemy champion, either he knows something or he is going to be that person. Or it's going to be Adolin, because Adolin is not a Knight Radiant, and I'm just wondering, is he going to be the People's Champion instead? I'm really worried that he's going to end up being the enemy's champion, not the People's Champion. The enemy's champion. I'm slightly worried about that. Or Renarin. There's going to be something to do with the enemy's champion and Renarin, without doubt. They keep on mentioning strata as well, like around the tower, in like different colours, and I'm just wondering, is this going to be significant? Is it going to be like a giant map of the world, or is it going to be like a way to just get round the tower or something? I don't know, but it's definitely going to be important. It has to be important with the amount they keep on talking about it. So Amaram is actually in Erythriu, so I didn't see that coming, I've got to admit. I'm still sort of sitting here going, well, Taravangian's also coming, so I don't see how this is going to ever end well whatsoever. But the idea that Amaram is now here as well, just, it's very worried for Adolin. I've got to admit, I'm very worried for Adolin, because now that Amaram's here and investigating, I feel like he may actually get to Adolin, and Adolin's going to have to tell Shallan what he did. If not, just so Shallan can help him cover it up. It's all going a bit odd now, and I think there's definitely something going on in terms of these murders. I think maybe there may be some sort of spren or something that is copying other people's murders, maybe? I don't know. I feel like it may be a spren or some kind of thing like a spren, I don't know. And also, what is with Halloran as well? Why is he important with the Amaram thing, further than the fact that Amaram didn't actually kill him, it was actually Kaladin? I'm slightly scared of what, like, Shallan's gonna do when she finds that out though, because that is going to break her. I think that's really going to do her in finding out that Kaladin was the one who killed her brother. I don't know, there's a lot of things going on right now. I have theories and other things. I'm just sort of cringing to find out what's going to happen. Very interesting with this black shadowy thing that's created like monster beasts for them to fight. That's very interesting. I'm wondering exactly what's going on there. Obviously it's some kind of spren, but I'm just wondering exactly what it is, because it's like really weird. Essentially it's really weird, and it's just like, what is that? It's obviously probably part of the desolation, considering it was scared of Shallan's light, so I'm thinking maybe it's part of the desolation, but I'm not entirely sure what else that could be, because obviously Brandon Sanderson's probably going to smack us with some kind of insane plot twist eventually. I'm not going to try and sort of figure it out too much though, because quite frankly I'm sure Brandon Sanderson will prove me wrong yet again with some absolutely incredible plot twist that no one's sort of coming in terms of what this thing is. So I can't wait to see what that is. Also, I'm quite interested in like how obviously Shallan is and how she changes from Shallan to Veil to Radiant. I really like sort of seeing these different parts of her personality sort of coming out and seeing how she sort of changes with these things. Also, I'm not here with Amaram becoming basically High Prince Sadeas and having Oathbringer. I think that's just a terrible idea, but I've got a feeling he's going to become a Radiant somehow, and we're going to end up with Kaladin and him having to actually battle it out and have a fight over this, and probably Adolin joining in, let's be honest here. I'm also thinking I can't trust Renarin. There's something about Renarin that's really odd. Obviously we're not entirely sure what kind of Radiant he is, I don't think. We haven't really gone into that, so I'm just thinking, what is he? I'm just wondering exactly what he is, because there's something going on there. There's something definitely going on there, and I don't entirely trust it. Also, I'm not sure which side Kaladin's now going to fall on, because obviously Kaladin's with the Parshmen and he's seeing from their point of view now, and I'm just wondering if he's going to end up on their side and then maybe becoming the enemy's champion. I don't know, I'm just sort of seeing maybe something like that's going to happen, probably not, but it's quite interesting seeing him with obviously the Parshmen and sort of seeing how he's reacting with them and seeing their point of view and stuff like this, and I'm finding that really interesting. But one thing is I'm waiting for Jasnar, and I'm like, can Jasnar turn up soon? Please, I am begging, because Jasnar is obviously alive, and I'm like, where is she? Obviously she's not going to be in part 1, but I'm like, can we have a hint of her, please? I think she's obviously the quotes at the beginning of each chapter, but I'm just going, can we see her? I want to see what she's up to, and I want to see what Hoyd's up to, because it's Hoyd and he seems to have all the answers. So I'd quite like to have a few, at least, hints of these answers. Interesting development from Kaladin being able to sort of not move the wind, but sort of break the wind so people could get through. That's really quite interesting. I'm wondering how that's going to sort of develop, because obviously Shallan's got her own power of being able to light weave, so I'm just wondering if this is another aspect of Kaladin's powers. Also, finally, Jasnar's here. I've been waiting for Jasnar to turn up for this entire first part. I've literally been waiting for ages, and finally she's here. Yay! I really liked seeing Rock's point of view in this one. I've got to admit, it was a really interesting sort of take to see his, like, view on the world and his view on Bridge 4. I really liked that, especially seeing as he can see the Spren, which I find really interesting as well, because obviously nobody else can really see them unless they are bonded with that specific Spren. So it was really interesting seeing him do that. I would still like to know why he can do that, but there we go. I also really liked his conversation with Renarin as well. I find that really quite cool to sort of see Renarin's point of view on this whole thing, because obviously he is like the outsider and he isn't technically a windrunner, he's something else. So I find that quite like interesting to see as well. And I also completely forgot that Rock had family. I don't know why I forgot about this, but I forgot about this, so it was really nice to also see them. But now I'm just wondering, what the hell is Teft up to? Because Teft has disappeared, he's not turning up for training or anything, so I'm just wondering where the hell that guy is, and I've got no idea where he is. I don't know, I don't even have a clue, and usually I have some kind of theory, but in this case I don't have a single theory whatsoever when it comes to Teft. Okay, so the Heralds all went to damnation to stop the decimation, and then when like they had enough of the torture, they went back out again and it started the desolation again, and it sort of went round and round and round in the cycle. But then one of them is now stuck in there, and they've all buggered off without dying or going down, because they hope that that one could hold it all by himself. First of all, arsehole move. Second of all, it's taken 2.5 books to get to the explanation for that first ever scene of Stormlight, so I'm so glad we finally have that explanation. So glad we finally have that. But now I'm really interested in finding out why exactly the Radiants all gave up and why they broke their oaths, because I feel like that is going to be a very, very interesting conversation when we eventually find that out. Probably in another 2.5 books. Let's be honest, it's going to be another 2.5 books just to be annoying. But there we go. So Shallon's brother was one of the Skybreakers with darkness. I didn't see that one coming whatsoever. That just shocked me quite a lot. So that's why he was on the battlefield. That was a plot twist. I wasn't expecting that plot twist. I was expecting something else. I don't know what I was expecting. I have no idea what I was expecting from Shallon's brother. To be honest, I had no idea. But that was definitely the last thing on my mind for what he was doing on that battlefield. Very, very interesting. So that means the Skybreakers have been around for a while and they've been killing off all of the previous, like, not shard bearers, but the people who are becoming Radiants before they become Radiants. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, so Lift is somehow making his way into Dalinar's visions that he's showing other people, or at least she's done it with Gorgs. So I'm just wondering if that's part of her powers, or if the Stormfather is screwing with Dalinar, which isn't also entirely possible. I don't know, but it's really nice to see her again in this, and hopefully she's going to sort of get maybe to the tower, to everybody else, I don't know. But also the fact that I really like that we've got Moash's point of view as well, so we can sort of see how he feels after everything that's gone down with Elhokar and everything in the previous book. I really like that sort of exploration of that, I guess you could say. But also, why is he going to pull wagons? Why is he doing the hard labour? Like, I get that he's just had a revelation, but I'm like, how is this going to help? I have no idea how this is going to help. But also at the same time, I don't know if he'll ever be allowed back into Bridge 4 after everything he's done, even if he does make it there. I don't know. I feel like this is going to end badly for him. So if I just read that right, Jasnah had an illness as a child that only she can remember, and she's also scared of losing her mind. Did she possibly have the same thing Taravangian's got now? Or is it something completely different? I'm just guessing. Again, I'm completely guessing, but maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that illness was something like Taravangian's one, but why would no one else remember it? Or is it something to do with her Order of Radiant? I don't know. You can't just drop things like this, Sanderson, and then just expect me to not pay attention. Okay, texting, but I'll be back to talk more about this maybe in a minute. Or I may just carry on reading. I'm probably going to carry on reading. So Jasnah and Amaram were apparently being pushed together for a marriage, and I'm like, really? How did her parents think that that was a good idea? Because the two of them are complete polar opposites. Like, I'm so glad she never actually married him or anything like that, and apparently she can't stand him. I really like that. Also, what the hell is up with Renowin? Like, what is up with that boy? Like, he's just discovered all of these stones in the wall and stuff like this. How did he know how to do that? I feel like he's either going through some stuff and it's something to do with his, like, Knight's Radiant Order or something else is going on with that boy. I have no idea what it is, but I'm sitting there going, what the hell? Also, I now really like Moash's point of view and his story, as it's sort of, he's sort of mirroring Kaladin in a way. I like how Moash is mirroring Kaladin. I really like that sort of dynamic going on there. Okay, we've had a bit of a scene change thanks to work being done downstairs, but never mind, updates on what I've read in the last couple of days. So we've just had Dalinar meet Odium, that's a cinema chain, Odium. We've just met Odium, and I'm not entirely sure what happened there further than Odium is passion, I think he's passion, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm just hoping it becomes clear later. The interlude with Kazza was very interesting, so this is now raising the question of if you do use a soulcaster and you are using soulcasters instead of your own magic, do all of you turn to smoke, or is it just her? Is it a her thing or what? Also, the cook turned buggy. I don't know, the buggy bits, I've got to admit, they kind of creep me out, but so that's a reference to Edge Dancer as well. So I was wondering if that was going to become a thing or if it was just going to be a thing in Edge Dancer. Clearly not. Obviously it wasn't going to be just a thing in Edge Dancer because Brandon Sanderson never writes anything without any sort of reason. So that's very interesting, and now I'm sitting here going, I wonder what this whole island thing is and what the treasures are and everything else. Obviously they said the soulcasters come from there, but I'm wondering how they come from there. What are these buggy people and exactly what are they protecting? I'm very interested in all of this, and hopefully we'll see Kazda again because I kind of liked her. Just what the hell is going on in this castle? I mean, they're stabbing people who come in and leaving them in the wine cellar. All the guards seem to be possessed. It's dark around it. What the hell is going on? I've got a theory that's just come to me that, is it like the fused? Have they been possessed by some kind of spren or ancestor of some kind, or is it something like that? I don't know, but that is my current theory, that maybe something like that's happening. I don't know. I really don't know, but that is my current guess. So Azur's actually a woman, which I wasn't expecting, to be honest, but I was hoping for maybe a better plot twist. But I guess for the characters that is a bit of a plot twist because obviously that's not normal in their society, so I quite like that as an idea. So we're getting more female like warriors and stuff like this. I'm really enjoying that. I'm also just wondering what the hell's going on with Shannon's light weaving and why it's not working on Kaladin, so that's going to be quite interesting. I also don't really trust these wall guards. There's something that I don't particularly trust about them, so that's going to be quite interesting to find out. And just what the hell is going on with the Spren and what Wit is doing here, because Wit said that he goes where he is needed. So he's clearly going here because he's needed, but why is he needed? That is the question. So I've just read chapter 76, which is where you find out how Evie died, and I've just gone off Dalinar even more. I don't know if you're supposed to, but I have completely gone off Dalinar as a character, I'm not gonna lie, because I mean, I understand why he reacted like he did, but I still think it was completely over the top, and I kind of get it, but at the same time I'm still like, no, you're an asshole kind of thing, and I'm now really put off from him, I guess you could say. Yeah, I am. I'm really put off by him as a character now, because I'm just like, what is wrong with you? Like, you were an arsehole and practically a psychopath kind of thing back then, and it was only 11 years ago, and I'm just like, you kind of got your wife killed. Can kind of see now why they went to the mystic person who got rid of his memories and all the rest of it, but I'm just like, still not good, I've got to admit. But I'm not really attached to Evie as a character, to be honest, either, but that could just be because of how Dalinar viewed her, because he always viewed her as a bit of an annoyance kind of thing, so I don't know. But what I am going to say as well is that I find this book is dragging a little bit. I am now 61% of the way through, which is 750 pages, and I'm just kind of waiting for like some action to happen. Like, there's been some like battles and stuff, but I'm just kind of waiting for stuff to happen. I think it's because this one's following Dalinar, and I'm not really enjoying being inside Dalinar's head that much, because Dalinar essentially, and I think because this one's more politics based, it's not really sort of working for me as much as Words of Radiance did. I mean, it's still good, but I do think it is dragging quite a lot. But in saying that, we are heading very quickly into the 200, like last 200 pages of plot twist. I've just got to get through another 250 pages, and then I'm going to hopefully be solidly into the usual Sanderson last 200 pages. Oh my god, plot twist, plot twist, plot twist, plot twist section. But who knows? I'm fingers crossing for that, but at the moment I've got to admit I think this one is down there with Way of Kings for me at the moment, just because it's slower than I would want essentially, and it's just taking me forever to read, I'm not going to lie. Did Momash just kill Denica? What? What? Like, I know he's gone Parchment side, but what? I like Delicar. I like Delicar. He was pathetic, but he tried. I like the characters who try, and he was trying, and now I'm like, what? What? He just killed the king. He just killed the king which means that everybody else is now going to be in absolute turmoil because the Queen's evil and possessed and sort of parsimony by the looks of it. So, and now also has his son, so how are they going to get through this? They're going to have to try and defeat the Queen and then maybe put Adeline or Renarin on the throne of Colin. They're going to have to put one of those two on the throne so then there's still a king, kind of thing, because Dalinar's the ruler of the Shattered Plains, and I'm like, oh god, this is not going to end well. This is probably going to restart the war again as well with the Pashendi, because Moash was on the side of the Pashendi. Oh god. Also, why has it taken 816 pages, which is 85 chapters, to get anywhere in this book? I feel like this book has been really, really slow the whole way through and has just been setting stuff up and all the rest of it, and now we finally get stuff, and we've now only got 400 pages left, and I'm like, can you have done this earlier? Couldn't we have gotten to this bit earlier? But at the same time, what? That's just blown my mind. I know I'm suddenly really interested in this book again, but oh my god. Oh my god. Why do we have to have the love triangle? Why are we dealing with love triangles? Why? It wasn't needed. It really was not needed in this book whatsoever. Love triangles suck and quite frankly ruin books for me quite often, so I am sitting here going, why the hell do we now have a love triangle forming? Can we not? I mean, if it was going to go into a polyamorous relationship, then go for it, because quite frankly that would be fine, because there's no sort of angst or like you're not going to break up any of like the friendships or anything. Why does it have to be a love triangle? Why is it necessary? Why is it here? I do not understand why it's here, and I already know it's going to annoy the hell out of me for the entire rest of this series until it's fixed, essentially. And even then I'm probably still going to be annoyed about it. I'm probably going to be annoyed about it for the next 7 books. Okay, so Azur's now after Seth's blade, which is from Warbreaker, so that's going to be quite interesting. For some reason I reckon she's also tied to Warbreaker somehow, considering she like changed her look and stuff like this. Like the colour of her hair drained and things like this at like when they first got to Shadesmar. So I'm just wondering if she is actually from the world of Warbreaker, maybe, I don't know, I'm just guessing at this point. Also, I kind of ship Kaladin with her as well, but I don't know if that's just because I don't want him with Shallan whatsoever, and I don't want him in love with Shallan, and I don't want Shallan in love with him, or Vale, or any of other Shallan's personalities, quite frankly, because I'm just really not here for that love triangle, or anything. It just is not for me, essentially. It really annoys me. But also I find Dalinar's chapters still really slow, quite frankly, because there's a lot of politics talk and all the rest of it, which just is not my thing usually, so I'm just a bit like, oh, get with the fighting. But now that we've found out that the Fused are now coming for Kaladin and everybody, fingers crossed we actually have a fight. That's what I'm hoping for. I mean, I've got about 210 pages left, so fingers crossed for some more action, because at the moment this one has gone very slowly for me, like the Way of Kings did. This very much does feel like the Way of Kings, though, in the sense that we're setting up a whole load more plot twists and stuff like this, and it feels more filler in its way. Like, it's still reasonably enjoyable, but I'm still finding this one slow like the Way of Kings, and I don't know, maybe if that's just because I'm feeling really fatigued reading this series now and I feel like I need a break, or if it's the book itself, or if it's just because there's so many plot points in this one that trying to keep up with them all and keeping up with all the characters and everything else is just getting confusing. I don't know, but this one has definitely been slower than the last one. So the humans are the Voidbringers? What? Wasn't see that one coming, did not see that one coming. We are officially, I think, in the last 200 pages of plot twists, so here we go. I'm also just wondering how Taravangian's plan is going to affect everything now that everybody knows. It's just that moment of going, this probably isn't going to end well for everybody. I've got to admit though, that plot twist and everything just made me go, yeah, which really isn't good, but I think that's either because I'm fatigued of reading this series, because reading a 1,000-page book, like 500 to 1,000 page book every month for a year, which is all high fantasy, is rather taxing, I've got to admit. And I don't know if it's the book. It could be the book. It's probably the book, to be honest, because I felt the same way about the Way of Kings, but who knows, I've only got 180 pages left, so, no, 280? No, 180, because, yeah, I've got 180 pages, I can't count, but we're in the last stretch now. Hopefully this sort of brings it back in the last 180 pages with all the plot twists, because that's usually where they are, so fingers crossed. Okay, so we are now into the last 140 pages of Oathbringer. I am a little bit nervous because I haven't enjoyed this book this much so far, and I've got actually a list of things I want Brandon Sanderson to sort of solve or just mention again, because they haven't been mentioned yet in a while. So while I was going through editing this vlog up to this moment, I made a list of the things I mentioned at the beginning that haven't been mentioned again in a very long time, so I'm hoping that kind of happens. And I don't know what other expectations I've got here. I don't usually have expectations, so I'm just kind of hoping for something here. I don't know what, but I'm just hoping for it to end better than the rest of the book's been, because I feel like I was fine for the first couple of 100 pages and then I've just sort of gone downhill with it, I guess you could say, in the sense that I've just sort of gotten slightly bored with it and slightly fatigued of it. So I'm hoping these last 140 pages pick up for me, because it did with The Way of Kings, so fingers crossed that happens again at this time. Okay, I did not see Odium's champion coming. Dalinar? Didn't see that coming. Should have seen that coming. Did not see that coming. Also, what the hell is Renarin? Like, is he working for Odium? What is he? I knew something was wrong with him. I'm so glad we finally got his point of view for like 5 paragraphs. But what is he? What the hell? Also, Adeline is apparently dying, but he may be saying the words, so yay. But what? See, the last 140 pages have completely picked up again. Why couldn't this book have started like this? Because I'm now really enjoying these last 140 pages. I just wish that this pace had been here for the entire thing. But now I'm on chapter 118, so I need to continue because, oh my god. So Dalinar's actually managed to fight off Odium as best as possible and not become his champion, despite the fact that he was just sort of leading into it the whole time. And that means I now understand all the flashbacks. I still don't like young Dalinar, and I still do not like at all being inside of his head, but I now get it. I completely get it, but I still don't like it very much. But I do like the lead up to this and this plot twist, so that was quite fun. Also, the getting everybody through and uniting the realms, and that's being what it meant. Unite them as in the realms, not the people. Mind blown, essentially. Mind blown. Also, who's going to be the 10th Radiant? I reckon it's Adeline, but that is a bit obvious, but at the same time I reckon it is going to be so. Also, the fact that Seth is now with them is awesome. I love the fact that Seth's changed sides. I just think that's awesome because I think he deserves it, quite frankly, and he deserves to sort of feel like he's following the right person and stuff like this, so I'm very excited for that. I've now only got, as well, about 80 pages left. I've got 80 pages left and I need to stop for lunch now because I'm really hungry, but I really don't want to. Why couldn't this book have been this exciting like the whole way through? Why did this book have to be so slow until the last 140 pages? Why? Okay, so I've now just finished Oathbringer. First of all, I really like the explanation as to why it's called Oathbringer and how we sort of find out what those extracts were. So it's actually Dalinar writing it. I really like that. I didn't see that coming. I definitely thought it was going to be Jasnar. Also, I really like the fact that Adeline decided that he didn't want to be king and now Jasnar is now queen. I really like that idea. I love the fact that they've also managed to save Elhakar's son, so hopefully he'll become more important in future books and stuff as he grows up. I'd really like that. Also, Wit now has a pattern of his own, like a spread of his own, so I'm just like, okay, A, he knew it was there, which is odd, And B, what's he going to do with it? Is he going to try and get his own blade or something to try and help out? Obviously he doesn't usually help out, like, so I've got no idea what's going to happen there. Also, I've got to admit that final battle did sort of bring this book back for me in a lot of ways. It provided a hell of a lot more action that I was really hoping for the entire way through this book, so I'm so glad we got that battle, even if it was confusing with it jumping between so many different points of view. But I'm also really happy that we finally got Renarin's point of view at last. Now if I quickly check my list, so there were still a couple of things that I still wish had sort of been explained. So first of all, the fact that Kaladin killed Halloran and yet Shallan/Vale still liked him. Like, I don't really get that. It was kind of like, yeah, but he killed your brother, even if it was unknowingly. Shallan just seemed to forget about this really, really quickly, and I would have liked that explored a bit more. But maybe now that obviously she's decided to choose Adeline, thank God for that, so we now do not have the love triangle. I'm so glad there's not going to be a love triangle. So glad that's fixed. Unbelievably glad that's fixed, because otherwise that was just going to anger me for the rest of the book. But hopefully now that Shallan's brothers have turned up, maybe this will get explored more. Maybe when they find out that Kaladin killed their brother, I would very much like this to be explored in a future book, because it is a big thing. And even though Kaladin didn't know he was killing Shallan's brother, he didn't even know who Shallan was at the time. I would like a bit more of explanation on that front. Also, I like the fact that we've now actually solved Sedaeus' death, and Dalinar now knows that it was Adeline. I'm really glad about that, because that was starting to annoy me because it hadn't been mentioned in like 800 pages, and I was kind of like, are we just going to skim over this? So I'm glad it was mentioned. I'm glad Dalinar now knows, so that's great. And obviously Sedaeus' wife is now buggered off, so hopefully that's now solved and we won't have to deal with that again. Also, the only thing that slightly annoyed me as well, that is probably going to annoy me now because it's never actually mentioned, is the fact that nobody actually asked Jasnah where she was or how she faked her death or how she got out of Shadesmar. Literally, no one asks her this for the entire book. I'm hoping maybe it's focused on in the Jasnah-centric book, whenever that is. Maybe it's Rhythm of War, I don't know. But I would have liked that explanation, them to actually talk about this at some point, because I do think that would have been really important. But maybe it'll happen in a later book. But apart from that, I did still enjoy this ending. I do think the ending brought it back for me, but and like explained a lot of why we were seeing what we were seeing and stuff. But I still do think that this is maybe a bit too long and maybe a bit too slow for me. I do think it could have maybe been shortened or had a few more action scenes throughout to sort of pep it up a bit and sort of break up the politics, because the politics really sort of downtrod it for me. But at least I now know why we got all of these really violent flashbacks of Dalinar and everything Dalinar did. So I'm glad that we got an explanation for that. And I can kind of see now why we had Shallan's identity crisis, even though that was ever so slightly annoying the whole way through. At least it's now been solved. At least we now know why it happened. And so now I can sort of appreciate the more annoying things about this book, even though they still annoyed me. But in conclusion, I think this was not my favourite book of the Stormlight Archive. That is still going to be Words of Radiance, I think, and I don't know if I'm ever going to enjoy Oathbringer as much. It was still a good book, but I do feel like it was maybe slightly more of a filler book that had important bits at the end, and the rest of it was just sort of background filler. But in saying that, I still reasonably enjoyed myself, so I'm going to give it 3 stars. I can't give it more than that because I was still annoyed for half of it for various reasons, and I do think it was a bit too long. But it was still quite a solid book, a bit filler, but 3 stars. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below with what you thought of Oathbringer when you read it for the first time. I'd love to know. I'll also leave a link down below to all my social media if you want to check out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics. And if you want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here. And over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time, everyone, bye!